was wondering about memory.
Yeah, memory's a good one.
And how it doesn't seem to be held in the brain, actually.
Sure.
That's just a processing. But it's... I wanted to ask, is it in a cloud? To me, it seems like there's a cloud of something out there. Especially around people, there are clouds of things that can be accessed about memory, about experience.
Well, what you're asking is really, really good. What you're asking about is what I would call the ground of being, which in a way is where everything comes from. It's like they call it the master memory or the master storage or the ground condition that all phenomena emerge from and disappear into without ever actually emerging or disappearing. But don't worry about that for now. So, in other words, a thought you've never had, it appears, and all of a sudden you have it. It's like you think something that you've never thought. Just any particular thought, Where did that come from? It's not just a random energy phenomena like a solar flare might be to someone who doesn't understand solar physics. It's an apparition of what? Where does it come from? What motivates it? Where's the substance of which it seems to be made coming from? Where is it existing when it seems to be present? And where does it go when it vanishes? And the same with memory. So all these forms appear, but it's not just mechanical. It's not just senseless random flashes. There's profound structure and meaningfulness and interconnection, right? I mean, thoughts aren't just like, It's like there's all of this filigree of interconnection and meaningfulness and profundity. Or memory, memory isn't just random flashes of, whatever, of experiential patterns. It has all these various degrees of coherence and seeming meaningfulness that shows up. So this ground condition that all this comes from, and this is kind of metaphorical in a way, but it's not completely inaccurate. This ground condition that everything comes from is actually pure intelligence. It's not inert. It's not just a ground condition like mud, like we imagine mud might be, although mud is actually pure intelligence as well, but forget about that. So the ground condition is pure being and pure intelligence are one and the same thing. The fundamental condition, the prima materia, the basis of reality itself is pure intelligence. You could say, if you wanted to be poetic, you could say it's the mind of God, the infinitely intelligent mind of God. And all of these phenomena that we experience as phenomena, which includes thought, memory, sensory experience, and all that, embody all this astounding structural and functionality, right? I mean, bodies appear and interactions occur and all this amazing, pseudo-meaningful stuff that we're also familiar with in our experience, right? It all is being spontaneously, call it projected, or arising, what have you, within experience, with a kind of a seeming sequentiality and a seeming interconnectedness and a seeming meaningfulness and seeming progression of experiences and so on, what have you, right? And it's meaningful, it's profound and interconnected infinitely because what it's an expression of is that. What it's an expression of is pure intelligence. And the nature of what this is also inherently creative. It's not just pure intelligence, it's also pure creativity. So it's like you could say, again, sort of to be poetic, you could say God's dreaming. And so God is pure hyper-intelligence, existing in itself, not dependent upon anything else. Just the absolute condition happens to be that, unfathomably. It's like the question, where did the Big Bang come from? So here's God, right? Just happens to be. And God is pure intelligence. And God explores itself or dreams itself through its own very nature, its own creativity, its own intelligence generates all of these implications that we think of as our experience, our lives, the universe, what have you. And it's all sort of instantly being improvised in real time, all with profound intelligence and interconnection with itself. And it's like a dream in the sense that it appears out of nothing and disappears back into nothing. But it actually, that's not true, because a dream is never actually there. It seems to be there. It's like a holographic projection or something. It seems to be here, it seems to be actual, but it is actually the ground state looking like this. You know, the dream condition is the deep sleeping consciousness. It never stops being the deep sleeping consciousness and becomes the dream. It looks as if it does, right? But it never actually does. The dream is nothing other than the dreaming consciousness. It never becomes other than that, even though it seems to be. So likewise, all these projections, thought, memory, sense experience, any phenomena whatsoever that shows up in experience is basically like a virtual holographic projection of the creativity of the hyper-intelligent consciousness of the divine, which is what you happen to be.